Welcome back to the Window Pro podcast. I've got a fascinating episode this week. I'm talking to Samantha van Niekerk, who's based in Newbury in the UK. And she has a really heartwarming story about a single mum lost her husband when her son was just 18 months old, and how the son, as a toddler, fell in love with window cleaning, and now at 19 they've started their own business. How do they go about it? Especially since Misha, the son, has some health challenges. Stay tuned and really enjoy the podcast that follows. Well, welcome back everyone to the Window Pro podcast, and today I'm talking to Samantha van Niekerk from Newbury in the UK. And Samantha has a fascinating story about family starting a window cleaning business. So, Samantha, how did you get into the window cleaning industry? And this involves also your 19-year-old son, Misha. So let us know.
Well, it started, there was a friend of ours who was doing very long shift work and it wasn't helping his family. So my husband suggested he see if he can find something else to do in the and build that up. And he started window cleaning. And he was one of my husband's really good friends, and he used to clean our windows. And then after my husband died, he still cleaned our windows. And I've got photos of my son at under 4 in his little window cleaning outfit with a little hard hat and his squeegee, and or his mop, and he would mop the window, and then Ian would squeegee it, and then Ian would chat to me, and then he'd turn around and Misha had mopped the window again. So each window got done about 4 times by the time Ian was finished. But Misha just loved window cleaning from there. And then when he decided that there was too much maths involved in being a scientist and inventor, he went back to wanting to do window cleaning. And at 15, I bought him his trad kit.
Yes.
So his mop and his bucket and his belt and all the rest. And he did some work experience with Ian and his family and another brother. And then another friend taught him how to do the pole system. And so it's what he's always wanted to do.
Oh, wow. Now, are you, Misha has some challenges with regard to being on the autism spectrum. You mentioned that in our chat before we recorded
Yeah.
this. How does that impact his
Well, he's
involvement?
he's got the difficult combination of autism and ADHD,
Okay.
particularly attention deficit. So the autism means that anything new is difficult to deal with. And the ADHD means he can't organize himself very well, and he can't plan ahead very well. So he wanted to do window cleaning, and he wanted to do, sort it out himself. But so I had to stand back a little bit. And then eventually he was just not coping. So I said, well, why don't we do it together? And
So does mum go with him cleaning windows?
no, I'm the brains and he's the brawns. So I do the admin side and interface with the customers and tell them, right, your next clean is on. And then he goes and he cleans their windows, and he's fine with, if he, when he knows what to do and it's transactional, then he's fine. He can go in and do the clean, collect the money, or remind me to send the invoice, and then that's sorted. But at least I can do the admin side at the back because I had experience helping my husband run our little IT business. And as he gains experience, then hopefully he'll be able to help a little bit more on that side. I
Yeah.
eventually hope to be the silent partner.
Okay. So nobody sees you, in other words.
No.
It reminds me of when I started 30 years ago. My wife Sharon was said, well, let's go and do the work together. Because so I would clean and she would go in and collect the cash and
Yes.
interact. She lasted a week because she's an introvert. That constant dealing with
Mm,
customer,
mm,
every 15 minutes, she
mm.
just said after a week, there is no way I'm coming with you again. So I get the whole aspect of you
Yeah.
doing the admin and
Yes.
Misha doing. Now,
Yeah.
so you mentioned that Misha's on the autism spectrum. He has
Yeah.
ADHD. Apart from that, what strength does Misha bring to the business to being a window cleaner? Like he's 19, so he's still a very young man. What strengths can he bring? Have you noticed?
He has enormous enthusiasm for the job.
That's
When he's got a day when he's doing cleaning, he's up and he's dressed and he's organized and he's got his breakfast and sorting out his energy drinks and his lunch and all the rest. And um, he's very motivated. And, I've seen when he's done a job, because he's on the autism spectrum, it has to be done properly. So at the
no.
moment, he still takes a bit longer,
Mhm.
but it's getting quicker. But the windowsills are beautifully clean, and the windows, there's no streaks. And so he is meticulous in making sure that it's done properly.
So his clients are getting a premium service without actually asking for one.
Yes. Well, I always say, he's 19 with 15 years experience.
Well, that's true. How long have you been window cleaning, Misha? 15 years.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess that's very true. Not many of us can take it back that far.
Yeah.
So, dividing the roles well, before we get to that, what have you personally learned about running a window cleaning business when you're not cleaning the windows?
I think the WhatsApp group that I'm a member of has been enormous help. I've gained so much information, so many tips and tricks on dealing with customers and which of the window cleaning apps works well and what to do if they don't want to pay and canvassing. And I've also we've got quite a few window cleaners as friends. So when we were doing our flyers, showed them to the friend, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And the one tweaked it here and the other one tweaked it there. So the window cleaning community has been enormously helpful in starting it up. We got a van from another window cleaner, and he also gave Misha some extra accessories as well. It's been really useful.
Yes. It's really lovely to hear because I think that's how we first met is through that same WhatsApp
Mm,
community.
yes.
There is, with some window cleaners I've talked to here in Australia, there's a hesitancy about sharing information
Mm,
because they think it's going to um, give the competition a head start. Well, in reality, that sharing of information empowers people. And just to see that both you and Misha have learnt so many things is
mm,
really quite lovely. And you said that you do the admin. How does organising a day? And I ask this because there may be a family, a person watching this and thinking this could be something for my young person to get into. How do we work out the family connection with it all? With regard to you doing the admin as mum, what does that look like on a weekly basis?
So, because Misha struggles with his ADHD to get down to things and get organized, I helped him do the flyers. So, did some basics and then said, what do you think of that? And then he tweaked them quite a bit. And he did the design on his uniform. But then I started that off and said, right now, where do we go from here? So, it's partly doing the admin and then also training him as well to be able to do it. So on we haven't got enough customers yet to need to use an app full time, but then I will know that, right, it's Bob's turn to be cleaned today. And so I'll say to Misha, right, tomorrow you've got Bob and Mary and Pete and June. And then he's got his little route set out. And we can space his customers out still. But now that it's stopped raining, we will be going out and doing canvassing. And I suss out the situation beforehand and I'll say, right, these are the areas that I think we can do. There's about 4 new estates in the area. Right, let's go through those. And we've picked up a couple of customers from just one estate. I think we're on to 3 customers just in the one new estate. And then I'm also happy to give out business cards to people and companies, whereas he's still a little bit nervous of doing that.
Yeah. So when you say like with canvassing, because that's a scary thing for most of us, we'd
Terrifying.
rather go to the dentist than canvass.
Yeah.
What's your approach? Like you said, there's some new estates and you
Mm.
knock on some doors.
I
What's the
just
approach?
I may keep it simple. I say, hi, I'm Samantha from MVN Window Cleaning. Here's our price list. Would you like your windows cleaned? I also I'll go over the estate beforehand and just check the windows. I'm terrible at the moment because every time I go past any house or business, I check their windows. And if I see a window of a business that doesn't look so great, then I'll just quickly pop in and hand them a business card. So
Why
the
not?
estates, I can see with the new estates who's already got a window cleaner and who still needs one. But I still call on every house. We're local window cleaners. Here's our price list. And it's an 8 weekly clean. And can I start tomorrow? Or we'll be here on Monday or Tuesday, depending on whether it's pouring or snowing.
Well, that's an issue, of course, as well. I like the proactivity. I like the initiative. Can we can start tomorrow, so it's not
Yes.
like apologizing for
Yeah.
offering the service,
Yeah.
but a very proactive. No, yeah, this is telling it
But
right
I
up front.
got that from another friend who's a window cleaner, and they said never feel that you have to apologize. You are worth the money that you ask.
Yeah,
So you don't have to give a million discounts or freebies or anything because you are worth what they're paying you. And that was very good advice
yeah,
because you're always tempted to, buy one, get four free when you're just starting out.
yes,
So I just thought, right, just I'm going to take it as we're your local window cleaners. We'll be here on Monday. Um, can we start?
yes. And the worst thing they can say is no.
Exactly. And they've lost a good window cleaner.
That's true. I was talking to our mutual friend Paul when I was over there for the Cleaning Expo, and he does a very interesting thing when he canvasses. He actually offers to clean the window next to the door while he's there as a demonstration, so that basically they've got a clean window next to all the dirty ones,
Yeah.
and they can see what they're getting and what they're currently missing out on
Yeah.
if they went with him. And I think that's something
That's
that I haven't implemented, but
yes.
that's taking the
Oh, that's good.
initiative.
It would work with my son, but not so much with me. They might definitely not take us on if I tried to clean their windows.
So if someone was starting out like a family decided to start a window cleaning business, um, what would you say to someone who thinks this is just a bit overwhelming, the idea of going out on their own rather than just working for someone?
I think for me, joining the WhatsApp group was an enormous help because people were very encouraging. And you need to start and decide, are we going to do the pole or just traditional? Are we going to do commercial or are we going to do residential or a mix of the two?
Mm.
And so we decided the pole system, as far as we're concerned, is the better of the two options. And we were able to purchase a very reasonably priced second-hand van
Hmm.
with a tank and
Okay.
motor and hose already installed, which meant we didn't have to fit it out because
Yeah.
that would have been a challenge.
Yeah.
And then we asked on the WhatsApp group what's the best sort of brushes and poles to use and what's the best place to get them. So we got some suggestions. We went with that. And my son also, he got a backpack as well
Oh, yeah.
because a lot of the houses are terraced. So you
Yes.
don't want to have to drive your van through the house to get to the back
No.
windows. So that works well for him.
Yeah.
And so then we set up, and then we had to wait for him to get his driver's license,
Of
which,
course.
you know, if you're already driver, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But for him, I didn't want to have to drive him around town for months on end.
No. No.
And then you got to decide your pricing. So any poor unfortunate window cleaner who put their leaflet through our door had it taken and forensically examined. And so when I was doing our pricing, I had 5 window cleaning leaflets in front of me, so that I could work out our pricing. And then we sat down together and tweaked it a little bit. And then I looked at the leaflets as well and thought, now, how can I improve on these leaflets? Because one of them said, we saw your windows were dirty. Can we clean them? And I thought, if somebody said that to me, I would be very insulted. So we turned that around and we've got a different slogan on our flyer.
So what's your
But
slogan?
we love clean windows.
We love play windows. Cool. Yeah.
So,
Just to
uh,
disappoint you, on my van, I just have a question. Dirty windows, and then
yeah,
a few details on how they can contact me. And
that's
some
good.
people love it
Yeah.
because they have to answer the question.
Yes.
It forces them to ask the
Yeah.
question.
But
But
at
got to
least
be
you're not
comfortable
saying,
with what we're putting out.
yeah, you're not saying, well, your windows are dirty.
No.
So, and with Misha, the other thing you have to think about if you're doing the pole system is where do you get your water from?
Yes. Yes.
So there are some water depots nearby, but we have a friend literally 5 houses down the road who makes his own ionized water. So we have a proper contract. We're doing everything with a good contract paper trail.
Yeah.
And so we've got a contract where Misha pays so many pence per litre. And he can phone him up and say, we need to fill the tank, please. And then he'll say, okay, you can come tomorrow evening or so on.
That's really interesting. So a friend has the system
Yes.
and you purchase the water from into
Yeah.
the tank and away you go.
And he also has the facility to check how clean the tank is, you know, what the quality of water is in the tank.
Lovely.
That helped.
Yeah. I met a gentleman who had a system set up like that, who made water, and he lives in the southern part of Reading,
Mm,
and some of the local window cleaners do the same thing.
mm.
They purchase their water off him, and it's a very UK thing, nothing like
Yes.
that because here in Australia. So I often ask people on my podcast about setting boundaries in the business because we all set boundaries in our interactions with other people. Um, how do you go about setting boundaries in the business model that you and Misha have together?
In what way?
In some boundaries could be when you work, how many days you work,
Mm.
what
Uh,
client
yeah.
communication interaction do you have?
Mm.
How do you, so that you protect yourselves?
Um, I try to make most of our customers Monday to Wednesday
Yeah,
because I'm really busy on a Thursday and Friday.
yeah,
So it's easier for me to deal with customers Monday to Wednesday. And on our Facebook page, then we've got, and WhatsApp, we've got the hours. So, and I've also another boundary I've got is I've got a work phone and a home phone.
yes,
And my son's got two SIM cards, work and home, but
yeah,
he wants to set up also a work phone. So that's entirely just for work.
yeah,
So all our customers, will be dealing with them just on work phones. So
yeah,
then you don't overlap your work. And we've also opened a special business account so that we're not dipping in and out of personal accounts,
yeah.
because that also can create quite a lot of complications.
Yes, that's true. And that's a simple thing to do, but it saves a lot of dramas down the
Mm,
track if you've got clear, this is where the business money goes and this is personal and
mm,
so forth. Yeah,
mm,
that's a really good thing. Interesting aspect with regard to work phone,
mm, mm.
personal phone. It keeps that division of work there. So, what have you enjoyed about this project, this ongoing helping Misha to build this business?
It's
Because,
been
you don't have your husband um, to work along with you in this. What have you enjoyed, though, with helping Misha?
It's been good seeing his confidence grow over the last 6 months. He was very nervous in the beginning, but now he just jumps in his van and he's off. And, we only have one commercial customer now, yet, but he's dealt with them really well.
Wow.
And he made a small mistake the first time he did their windows. He cleaned the sign after he'd cleaned the windows below. So there were a couple of streaks. And he phoned them back and he said, I'll be there on Saturday morning when you're all quiet and empty, and I'll quickly redo that window for you. Don't worry. And it was done, and they were very happy.
And
So
that must have been very
he
pleasing.
managed to, yeah, he sorted it out himself. And I was so proud of him for that.
Yeah. Because there would have been easily the tendency to defer to the marketing guru in
Mm.
the family or the
Yes,
client interaction, the
yes,
manager.
yes. Or
But
just run away and hide.
yes,
Mm.
that's true. Yeah. So if you could give one piece of encouragement to somebody starting out in business, a family, what would that encouragement be?
Take a deep breath,
Hmm.
make a plan,
Hmm.
do a lot of research, ask people, because people are often very happy to help out with technical details, and like we asked to help with how, what to put on a flyer, what was important, what to leave out. And window cleaning community is a lovely community. And I think the more you can interact with people who are window cleaners and ask questions without threatening to steal their customers, um, I think that would be a major help.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about going to, I think you mentioned when we first were chatting prior to this podcast that you and Misha are going to the Cleaning Expo at the end of
Yes.
March. How will that help you both?
Well, last year we got different cleaning products. And he got a couple of good quality new squeegees, and we were able to meet up with people, and it was just good to see what's out there. There's some amazingly fitted out vans that you can aspire to in a few years' time, and having a look at different pole systems and different products. And we've also got an elderly gutter vacuum cleaner. So, looking at the new gutter vacs and thinking, right, that's down the line when we've got a little bit more money saved. And that's another thing with the business, is making sure that you've got some set aside, because things will break and things will need replacing.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's an
Um,
important, a very important tip.
Last year we went on the Saturday, and most of the window cleaning WhatsApp group were there on the Friday. So I'm going
Yeah,
to
I
make
was there
sure
on the
that
Friday. I missed you.
we go on the Friday this time.
Yes, it was quite a show. So I get all that aspect of there's all of these different types of
Mm.
tools that you can pick up and learn from, learn about. So that's really fascinating. So if you had like a top tip for somebody in the window cleaning industry, what would it be?
Oh my word. Top tip. All I can say is clean windows really well, and don't forget the windowsills.
Yes, that's an
Yeah.
important
It's
one.
I like the business in that it is not something that is going to consume your time too much after work. You've
Yes.
got to sort out your customers for tomorrow, but you don't have to do loads of prep the next day and work into the night and so on. And it's outdoors and you're in the fresh air. So it is, to me, it's the best job that my son could have had.
Yeah, that's lovely. That's really good. That's some fascinating insights, Samantha, and fascinating to hear the story. Hear how a young man with seeming challenges, you've been able to turn those challenges into strengths, and he's been able to succeed. So, been very fascinating to see how you've worked together to develop that, and um, very grateful that you could join us on the podcast and share that information. So enjoy the cleaning expo at the end of the month. I look forward to chatting and seeing through our mutual WhatsApp group um, what new things you get from there, if you do get any. And that Misha continues to enjoy working alongside with you in his business. Thanks so much,
It's
Samantha.
a
We'll
pleasure.
chat soon.
Okay.